What it do? Bedtime crew. Hey man, listen, today I'm here with banger Apex UFC main events that I want to see in the next couple of months, maybe next year as well. But these are every division's best main event you can make in the Apex. And what I mean by an Apex specific banger, these are striker versus striker matchups, to be honest, because these are ones that where you want to hear the hits, you want to hear the punches, you want to hear the kicks, you want to hear that rickety cage while they fight. This is just the most nasty matchups you can make in every division as a main event. I'm gonna start off straight away with the flyweight division. I want to see Brandon Royval versus Kai Kara France, the rematch. Okay, the first fight on Fight Island was such a classic. Everybody remembers that classic sequence where I think Royval gets dropped with a big right hand. Kara France comes in, Royval gets up, does a spinning elbow, drops again, drops Kai Kara France. Like, such a sick fight. I would love to see these two fight again in the Apex, in a 5-round main event. Just hearing like the elbows, the kicks, even the grappling exchanges would be pretty exciting between these two. And these are two real like finishes at flyweight, which you don't always get. If Figueiredo was still at flyweight, I would say, bro, give me Royval versus Figueiredo right now, or Kai Kara France versus Figueiredo would also be a sick fight. But because Figueiredo is probably moving up, I want to see Brandon Royval versus Kai Kara France 2 in the Apex. Dana, give me what I want. All right, we move on to the Bantamweight division, where, like I said, these are usually striker versus striker. This fight would be a 5-round boxing war. I feel like these two would just beat the shit out of each other. And this would be a good bounce back fight for one of these guys as well. Maybe he wouldn't win, but I think it'd be a more favorable matchup than a grappler again, which he's just lost to. I want to see Piotr Jan versus Song Yadong in the Apex. I think these two, like I said, imagine these two boxing for 5 rounds in the Apex, like just hearing every shot. You know that Song Yadong's not going to wrestle. You know Piotr Jan's going to come for the fight because he's on a losing streak. I think this would be a sick fucking main event. And like I said, this belongs in the Apex as a banger because, dude, the body shots, the boxing exchanges, even the leg kicks of Song Yadong. This guy's just, everything he throws, he wants to hurt you, and he's like making fun of you the whole time. Same with Piotr Jan, bro. These are two of the nastiest guys at bantamweight. I think this is a sick main event that needs to happen either in front of a crowd or, like, please put it in the fucking Apex, bro. Please, bro. All right, let's move on to the featherweight division. Okay, I wanted to see this fight happen at UFC 292. I'm not going to lie. I booked this for 292 for that Boston card because I thought this fight made a lot of sense timing-wise, ranking-wise, and I think this is a fight that is very, very exciting. So because it didn't happen at 292, there's a silver lining. We can put this as a UFC main event in the Apex, okay? And I think that this would be a classic performance by one of these guys. I want to see Calvin Kattar versus Edson Barboza for 5 rounds. I need to see these two fight each other, dude. I think this would be such a brutal fight, dude. I mean, Edson Barboza would be kicking his legs to shreds. He'd be kicking up the body. Calvin Kattar would be putting together combinations. He'd be ripping to the body, huge elbows against the fence. I think there'd be so much blood in the octagon after this fight, and maybe I'm just greedy. I would love to see this with no crowd. I want to see 5 rounds of this where you can hear every single shot, dude. You can see everything going on. You can hear the cuts opening. Like, this would be such a nasty fight, dude. I would love to see this. I don't know if it would go the distance, but knowing these two, it would be awesome if it did. Because early on, Barboza would have the edge, and then I think Calvin Kattar would settle in and start landing really like big combinations to get the fight going. So really, really hope the UFC makes this fight either as a main event in the Apex like I'm suggesting, or put it on a pay-per-view. But we need this fight, dude. This is a sick fight, okay? We move on to the lightweight division, and I want to put 2 of the best strikers at lightweight right now in that echelon between like 5 and 10 in the rankings. I want to put 2 of the best strikers right now in that division up against each other in the Apex, where wars are meant to happen, right? Both of these guys have main evented. Sorry, let me just scratch my head, bro. Both of these guys, see, I wasn't scratching my nuts this time. Both of these guys have had Apex main events, okay? And both of them have been in wars in their last couple of fights. So you know that it's just in their DNA to go to war. And I think that these two, ranking wise, especially if one of these guys loses his next fight, I think this is a huge and realistic fight to make. I want to see Rafael Fiziev versus Dan Hooker in the Apex for 5 rounds. Come on, bro. We need Kennedy. Oh, sorry, bro. Fuck, dude. Oh, shit, dude. All right, I fixed it. Best editor on YouTube. Let's fucking go, baby. Let's go, baby. Let me move that down a bit. Best editor on YouTube. Let's go. But, yo, Kennedy, Dan Hooker versus the Northman, Rafael Fiziev, bro. Let me see this fight, bro. Because you know Dan Hooker's just going to keep coming forward. He's going to be swinging for the fences. You know Rafael Fiziev's going to be putting it on him with big punches, big kicks. You know he's going to slow down as well, which is going to make it interesting. And there's a bit of rivalry there because Rafael Fiziev, he took out Brad Riddell, who was one of Dan Hooker's main training partners. So you know Dan Hooker low-key wants that fight back. And I think this would be such a sick fucking fight, dude. I would love to see this in the future. If Rafael Fiziev loses to Mateusz Gamrot, I think this is the fight to make. I'm going to be real with you. We move on to the welterweight division. And look, boys, you know me. Okay, if you know bedtime, you know that my favorite division is the welterweight division. I just think there's so many exciting fighters at welterweight. Obviously, some fighters have kind of lost their excitement value, and I'm not holding it against them. You know, Vicente Luque would have been my go-to. But with the brain bleed, with the damage that he's taken, I think he's going to take a more cautious approach to his career. So I'm not going to add him to this fight. I think that there is a 5-round war meant to be made in the welterweight division. And this could honestly be made like after this one of these guys' next fight. I think this could be made next. And I would love for it. I would pray that this would be a main event because I need 5 rounds of Jeff Neal and Jack Della Maddalena boxing and beating the shit out of each other. This is literally just like Jeff Neal versus white Jeff Neal. Like, this is a mirror matchup when you and your mate pick the same fucking character in Mortal Kombat, dude. This fight needs to happen. This is the one in this video so far, besides Edson Barboza and Calvin Kattar. UFC, Dana, I know you watch my channel and steal all my fights. Dude, make this fight ASAP. I need this as a 5-round boxing war in the Apex. This would be so fucking good, dude. Like, this would be... Oh, my God. Could you imagine the exchanges between these two, dude? My God. Okay, so welterweight division, I need Jeff Neal versus Jack Della Maddalena. We move on to the middleweight division. I'm going to throw something at my cat because she is scratching my door. Stop fucking scratching, you absolute nitwit. Okay, we're in the middleweight division. Okay, and like I said, this is striker versus striker. This is a hard one to choose because the top strikers at middleweight, they're either fighting for belts or the other guys are grapplers. The guys that belong in Apex main events, most of them are grapplers. So it's really hard to decide who to pick, but I decided to go with one of the most pressure-heavy fighters in the UFC versus a guy who is a pure fundamental boxer with a pretty good chin, good cardio, pretty well-rounded. I want to see Paulo Costa versus Chris Curtis, 5 rounds in the Apex. I approve 100%, brother, okay? I think this would be a banger fight, dude. I think this would be like reminiscent of the Marvin Vettori fight with Paulo Costa. I think this would be a very, very exciting matchup. You know neither guy's going to shoot, and you know if either guy does shoot, they're going to stop each other's takedowns. They both got really good takedown defense. So this is a really good bounce-back fight, by the way. Paulo Costa, if you lose to Khamzat Chimaev, even though he's going to KO Chimaev, trust. If he loses to Chimaev somehow, if he slips on a banana peel, Chris Curtis is a beautiful bounce-back fight for you, bro. Please, UFC, let's do Chris Curtis versus Paulo Costa. We move on to the light heavyweight division. We got 2 more fights to make. And in the light heavyweight division, I think that there is a Muay Thai masterclass to be made as a 5-round main event. One of these guys is a former champion, just lost recently. He needs a bounce-back fight. And the other guy, he's coming off a beautiful KO win, and he's going to need a big fight up in the rankings. He's asked for a main event. I think that this could be done. I want to see Jan Blachowicz versus Khalil Roundtree. I think that the kicks that these two would throw against each other, I think the punches these two would land, this would be such a brutal fight. I feel like this would be one of those matchups where you're sitting there and you're like, every single exchange, you're like, oh my God, someone's going to sleep. Like, someone's getting knocked out. You know what I mean? I think this would be a banger fight. I don't think this goes the distance, but man, I would love to see this. And you know, mix in the wrestling, maybe he won't. Maybe he'll be more aggressive because he lost. This is a very intriguing matchup to me. I think this is the best striking matchup you can make in the light heavyweight division as an Apex main event. We move on to our last fight in the heavyweight division. This one kind of was tricky for me as well because the top guys are majority grapplers or they're in line to fight for belts. So I had to think further down the line. All right. And this is a fight you can make basically whenever you want. This is a countryman versus countryman warfare. This is a battle of two big, scary power puncher boxers. One of them is more of a well-rounded kickboxer. The other one is basically a pure boxer with nuclear power. No pun intended. I want to see Sergey Pavlovich versus Alexander Volkov in the Apex. I think this would be just deadly tension. Like these two standing in the octagon, you go, oh my god, someone's getting knocked the fuck out, dude. Like I can just see this fight being just a round of brutal exchanges, and then someone goes down and goes to sleep, and it's probably it's probably Volkov, let's be real. But if Volkov beats Taito Ivasa and Sergey Pavlovich loses to Tom Aspinall or Cyril Gahn or whoever he fights next, I think this is a really fun fight to make. You can't go to Russia right now as the UFC, so you might as well get something for the European fans, for the Russian fans, excuse me. Get Sergey Pavlovich versus Alexander Volkov, 5-round main event in the Apex. These are my picks for the banger Apex main events that the UFC needs to make in every division. Let me know what you guys think down below. Do you agree with the fights that I picked? Is there any fights that you would want to see instead? Let me know in the comments down below, boys. Make sure you drop a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Let's hit 10K, boys. And make sure you follow me on Instagram at Bedtime MMA because I recently trained with Pavlovich. I did knock him out in training, so make sure you go check out that video on my Instagram. And I'll see you in the next video, boys. Lucas Tracy, send me the contract, boys. Stop running. See you in the next video. Goodbye.